You don't remember your first word. You don't remember learning to walk, the falling, the trying again, the moment your legs finally held you. You don't remember the first face that made you feel safe. You don't remember the first time something tasted sweet, or the first sound that ever made you cry. And here's the strange part. All of it really happened. You were there for every second of it. Awake, feeling, learning faster than you ever will again. And then it just disappeared. Not faded slowly over the years. Gone. The first years of your life sit in almost complete silence. For most people, that's everything before the age of 3 or 4. For some, the silence reaches even further than that. No moments, no pictures in your head, nothing you can actually reach. So where did it all go? Because this isn't like forgetting where you left your keys. This is the entire first chapter of your life, wiped almost clean. And for a long time, nobody could really explain why. Now we finally can, and the answer is stranger than just you forgot. Let's start with the obvious question. Back then, were you even really there? Were you thinking, feeling, or just floating through it? The answer is yes, completely fully there. A newborn already knows its mother's voice. It heard that voice for months inside the womb, and it knows it the moment it's born. Within days, a baby treats a familiar face differently from a stranger's. It cries one way for hunger, another for pain, another for being alone. You were not a blank screen waiting to switch on. You were curious. You were reacting. You were feeling everything at full strength, with nothing to soften it. Someone was home. So how can a mind that is alive keep almost none of it? This blank space has a name. Scientists call it childhood amnesia. And amnesia normally means something went wrong. This is the opposite. This is your brain doing exactly what it's built to do. Almost every person on Earth has it. Most of us remember nothing at all from before the age of 3. And after that, only a few scattered flashes. A birthday, a smell, a single afternoon. It happened to you. It happened to everyone you've ever met. A whole chapter, gone. And most people never even stop to notice it's missing. To understand where those years went, you have to understand one thing first. A memory is not a recording. Your brain doesn't film your life and save the video. When something happens to you, the pieces get scattered. The sounds go to one place. The feelings go to another. What actually happened in order goes somewhere else again. To remember a moment, your brain has to pull all those scattered pieces back together. And one small part of the brain does that work. It's called the hippocampus. Think of it as the part that takes a messy moment and turns it into something you can keep. Here's the problem. In a baby, the hippocampus is barely finished. The pieces are there, but the wiring that connects them isn't ready yet. So for years, the explanation was simple. A baby can't really save memories because the part that saves them isn't working yet. Clean, simple, and not quite the full story. Because when scientists actually tested babies, something didn't fit. In one famous experiment, researchers tied a ribbon from a baby's foot to a hanging mobile. Every time the baby kicked, the mobile moved. The babies worked it out fast. Kick, and the world moves. Then the researchers came back days later, and the babies still knew. They started kicking the moment they saw that same mobile again, so babies can form memories. Later, brain scanners showed it even more clearly. Researchers watched a baby's brain light up while learning something new, saving it right there in real time. So the part that saves memories was never switched off. It was working all along. And that changes the whole question. Maybe those first years didn't fail to record. Maybe they recorded just fine, and then the brain simply couldn't hold on to them. So why couldn't it hold on? Start with one fact that's almost hard to believe. In your first years, your brain is changing faster than at any other moment in your whole life. It's adding new connections by the millions every single day. Nothing you ever do again will come close to that speed. But that speed comes at a price. A memory lives inside one exact pattern of connections. And in a baby, those connections are constantly being pulled apart and built again. Picture writing in a notebook. Now picture the pages quietly rearranging themselves every night while you sleep. What you wrote was real. You just can't find the page anymore. This is the strange trade your young brain makes. All that rebuilding is exactly what lets a baby learn at an unbelievable speed. And it's the exact same thing that stops those early memories from lasting. You were learning faster than any adult ever could. The price was forgetting almost all of it. There's a second reason, and it's a strange one. To remember your life, there has to be a you it happened to. And a baby doesn't fully have that yet. Here's how scientists found out. They put a small dot of color on a baby's nose and sat it in front of a mirror. An older child sees the dot and reaches up to its own face. It understands, that's me. A young baby just smiles at the friendly little stranger looking back. It doesn't know it's looking at itself. And if there's no clear me yet, a memory has nothing to belong to. It becomes a moment with no owner. So it slips away. Now add the last missing piece. As a baby, you had no language. And words do something to a memory that's easy to overlook. They turn it into a story. Think about how you remember anything at all. I went there. I was scared. She laughed. Words. Names. A little story you can play back in your head. A baby has none of that yet. The moment happened, but there were no words to wrap around it and hold it in place. And a memory with no story is almost impossible to keep. So far, this all sounds like pure loss. It isn't. And this is the part most people never hear. You actually carry two completely different kinds of memory. The first kind is the one you think of as remembering, the events you can describe, your first day at school, a holiday, a face, things you can put into words and tell someone. The second kind is quieter, and it never speaks. It's what your body and your feelings remember, with no story attached. What safe feels like, what love feels like, what danger feels like. Your baby years didn't vanish into nothing. They sank down into that second kind. You can't describe them, but you never stopped carrying them, because those forgotten years were never empty time. They were building you. The way you were held when you cried, the faces that came back again and again right when you needed them. Whether the world around you felt safe or whether it felt uncertain, your brain was learning all of it long before you had a single word for it. How close to let people come? How quickly to trust? How easily can you be afraid? Some of who you are right now was quietly settled back then, in rooms you will never remember being in. You don't remember the lessons, but you're still living by them every single day. And that line where your memory begins? It isn't in the same place for everyone. Some people have one real flash from the age of 2. Others remember nothing before 5 or 6. And there are reasons for the difference. Strong feelings make a memory stick harder. Growing up surrounded by a lot of talking gives memories more words to hold onto. A moment that gets retold again and again lasts far longer than one nobody ever mentions. It was never about which baby was smarter. It's about how far the brain had grown and how much the world around it helped. So let's go back to where we started. Why did you forget being a baby? Not for one reason, for several, all at the same time. A brain rebuilding itself too fast to keep anything still. No clear you yet to hold the memories. No words yet to turn them into stories. The memories formed, and then, one by one, they slipped out of reach. But don't mistake out of reach for gone, because you were there. You were awake. You were feeling. You were learning the whole time. You laughed before you could remember laughing. You were loved before you could remember being loved. Your first years aren't deleted. They're just written in a language you can't read anymore. The first chapter of your story is still inside you. You simply can't turn back that far. And maybe that's the strangest part of being human, that your life began long before you were ever able to remember it.